I've started recording also. Just a second. Yeah, please mute from your side, everybody. Please mute from your side. Yeah, thank you. So, fine. Let's start our today's class, and just let's have a quick recap what we have done in our last classes. So mainly we have gone through the new OpenSQL syntaxes in our last classes. There are many new OpenSQL syntaxes which is very advanced and which is very powerful that we have discussed. After that, as a ABAP on HANA developer or ABAP developer, also we are supposed to know the new syntaxes, the each and every syntax uh, we have discussed in more detail. Almost we have covered all the important syntaxes. So in our last classes, we have done it effectively and nicely we were able to complete it. So from today onwards, let's go to learn the things related with HANA specific only, like uh, we will be learning the HANA related stuff. Like in our last class, we have started to learn profiling and tooling. Profiling and tooling is nothing but the new way of activating the trace through the HANA Studio or ABAP development tool, ADT, right? So there is also one option comes over there that is known as feed reader. So that also we will have a look over there and we will see how the feed reader works over there. And then gradually we will be moving towards like when we are moving to the HANA DB, when our code is going to uh, like when our project is going to migrate to S4 HANA either, or like as a HANA, like business suite on HANA, uh, HANA as a backend. In that case, what the important criteria, what the important things, how our code we will be able to make it compatible with the HANA environment. Okay, so that thing we will see in our today's class. So for that purpose, actually, the things which are going today, like we already know most of the things, but I don't know if you have got exposure of these or not. So the tool, like the code inspector, we are going to you know and the transaction for this is SCI. So with the help of code inspector and then ATC ABAP test cockpit, with the help of ATC code inspector, we are going to see like our existing code is will be compatible with the HANA. What actually we are supposed to do before migrating to HANA, we are supposed to check the existing code whether it will be compatible with the HANA or not. So for that purpose, actually we are going to use the two check variant. Okay, one is that is known as functional DB. I will just discuss this in detail. Just give you a glimpse over here, so that we will be having a little bit idea. And another is performance underscore and DB. So with the help of this variant, we are going to use this under this ATC, and we will be giving the package name or the program name, whatever it is, and we will be checking the existing code will be our the existing code will be compatible with the HANA environment or not with this variant. So below variants will be used as a check variant, okay, to check if the code is compatible with HANA environment or not. Okay, so we will see in detail this stuff today. Okay, let's go to our system. Okay, fine. I'm going to log into SAP HANA Studio. We can use either SAP HANA Studio or Eclipse if ADT is installed over there. Okay, ADT is also fine. SAP HANA Studio is also fine. Anything we can use over here. Okay, fine. Let's create our new project. So whenever you have to do anything in your ABAP, if you want to do something like in your ADT or in your HANA Studio, and if you want to create some program over there, first you have to create one project, one ABAP project over there. In last class also we have discussed the same things. Let me do it once again. ABAP project you have to start. You have to select the system. Okay, ABAP project means the system. Actually we are connecting with the system through which you want to do the development. So while creating the ABAP project, we are supposed to select the backend system through which your SAP HANA Studio is going to communicate with, and all the repository object will be created in this backend system, right? So I'm selecting this system and just click on next button. I have to give password over here and then click on next, and automatically, because I'm creating the ABAP project, so it is telling, system is identifying that I'm something going to do with ABAP, so automatically it is trying to open the ABAP perspective. There are multiple perspective over here, and we are supposed to open those perspective where we have to work. Then only the you know related tool or related button or related option will be coming over there, and we will be able to perform our work. Okay, so this is fine. Now click on this open perspective. Yes, we want to open the ABAP perspective because we want to work on ABAP. So you can see over here one project has been created. Similarly, some other person, and in our last class this project have been created. We can use our earlier project, or we can just use the new project which we have just created. Okay, so just I wanted to show you like how we can create the new project. I have done. I will just delete it from here and I will use the existing one. Okay, this 3, 1 and 2 and this very first one have been created by some another person. This is a test system. Earlier this system might have the access with some another person, that's why we are able to see here multiple. I'm not going to delete others person project, maybe they will require later. Okay, so just logged in over here, and here you can see all the object created with ABAP HANA 1, the program authorization object, whatever it is, everything you can be able to see over here in the same way. If you want to search your existing development, okay, for example, uh, just select the system through which, just select the system, click on this open ABAP, and here you can search whatever object you have created. So I have created multiple object with ZJA. Okay, you can see over here ZJA 7th ALV, something like that. I have created some program. Okay, uh, I think OpenSQL I have created jet star OpenSQL. You can find out from here many OpenSQL, this is OpenSQL. We have created this program, and if you double click over here, the program will be opened over here, and here also you can do in the same way all the programming as you have to do in the SAP GUI environment. Okay, it's also very friendly environment. There are multiple feature here. Also you have option to check the syntax, to activate the multiple object at same time, single object at one time. Okay, and if you want to run the program and test it, this is the option. Okay, search option, enhanced search option is over here. So there are where used, you can see over here, this is the where used, that is also there in your ABAP GUI environment, right? Refresh button is over here, and here you can see show inactive version. If you want to see some inactive version, you can click over here and you can see over here. Okay, just so this is, this is the program, this is the program which we have created and we are able to see over here. Now suppose I want to run the trace. So for that purpose, in last class we have seen that we have to, go to this ABAP profiling. Once we go to ABAP profiling, here at downside we are able to see some option over here, some area we are able to see over ABAP traces, ABAP trace request, something like that. So this ABAP trace is nothing but it's a similar to, ST12, okay, or SAT or ST05, kind of that only it is there. It's in the same way. Okay, so in last class we have discussed how to create a new trace request. So you have to click on this create trace request, and once you click on this create trace request, just let me select this. You must have to select some project, then only this will be enabled and you will be able to create the trace request. So in last class we have discussed these things. Let's skip this one. Please go through the previous video if you want to see it again. Okay, and we can create the trace. Once you create the trace, if you are going to run this program, the trace will cover that particular execution and the performance, everything you will be able to see over there. Right, the performance and all you will be able to see over there. So this is how you can create the trace request. So now there is one option come over here, like, feed reader. Somewhere the option comes over here, just I'm missing that option. One option comes here for the feed reader. Once you activate that option, you will be able to see, if you get something related with that, you will be notified about that particular change or something. I will check that one. I'm not able to remember right now how to go to that particular option. I will check and I will let you know tomorrow. Fine. Now, from ABAP point of view and from ABAP on HANA point of view, let us see some important stuff. Uh, let's go to this is, SAP HANA. Let's have some introduction about the perspective. Once again, we have though discussed it. Let's have a quick look over here. It will not take more time. So this is, HANA administration console. So mainly this tool, particular, kind of aeroplane kind of things is there. So particularly this perspective related with this option you are able to see over here. Okay, this perspective, if you come to this perspective, so the HANA database administrator people, if you come over here, some properties option about new syntax part thing, all this thing, this is related with this program. Just close this one. I am willing to show something different. Let's create some, uh, do one thing. go to this SAP HANA modeler perspective. Yes, fine. So here, this is SAP HANA administration console. This console, I'm not able to see anything over here. The reason behind, I have not been given access to SAP HANA administration console. That's why, I'm not able to see anything over here. HANA administration console access will be given to the HANA database administrator people, the basis people who is managing this HANA database from backend. Okay. Anything, if they want to do anything, if they want to alter some table, if they want to remove some table, whatever they want to do, they can perform the activity. They have full access. As a SAP HANA administration, they will be having the full access. That's why, I have not been given any access like that, so that they just want to secure their database and they have not provided this access. But we don't require this one. We are more bothering about this SAP HANA modeler, and one more is there. Just I will show you. uh, SAP HANA, yeah, this SAP HANA development and this SAP HANA modeler. So these two we will be mostly required, and sometimes this we will be going, this ABAP when we are learning our CDS view, AMDP procedure. So at that point of time, we are going to see. So mostly we are going to use these three, the SAP HANA modeler or SAP HANA development. Both is fine for our modeling development. We can select one of both, uh, one of any these two we can select. And this, whenever we have to create anything like AMDP class or CDS view, we are going into our ABAP perspective. You won't be able to create CDS view or AMDP class with the help of ABAP GUI. You will not be able to create from here. Okay, you must have to use either SAP, HANA Studio, or uh, ADT, ADT on Eclipse, ABAP development tool on Eclipse. You have to open the Eclipse over here, and if ADT is installed and you have proper access to install the system and to connect with the system, you will be able to do so. Okay. So you have to open your Eclipse and you have to check like you have all the, like your system is connected with that or not. And ADT is a add-on. You have to go to your SAP help website, and from there you have to install your ABAP development toolkit in your Eclipse. So you can directly install the ABAP development toolkit in your Eclipse. You can see over here that from here also, like you can just check, uh, it's for Java project. More bothered about the ABAP development project. So just go over here, click on this new button, and you have to click on this project. Here also you have to create a project. ABAP, you can see over here, this ABAP option is coming because ADT has been installed over here. If it is not installed, you will not able to see, this option over here. So in the same way, here also you have to give the client, user, and password. You have to connect, and in the same way everything will come whatever we are able to see at the HANA Studio. Okay, if you go to ABAP development, in the same way it will come over here also in terms of project. Okay, so in SAP HANA everything is configured nicely over here. Let's come and do over here. So what I was talking about, either we can use SAP HANA development or SAP HANA modeler in order to find, in order to do the information modeling like attribute view, calculation view, or analysis view. We are going to either of this perspective. Okay. Once you come into this perspective, you will be having some option over here. This is nothing but your instances of the HANA database. Your database is same, but in your database multiple instances are there, and in multiple instances, multiple schemas are there. So your HANA database is containing the multiple uh, uh, schemas. What is actually schemas? We will discuss this one now, and we will understand the importance of a schema. Okay, you can see over here this TN3 is nothing but this HDX BF3. The HANA database administrator people has created all these three instances. Okay, and these instances actually is representing the different system. Okay, they are having some another system where they are using the BF3 instances of HANA database, HDX instances of HANA database. Okay, this may be different instances or separately different HANA database server. Anything is possible. Okay, this TN3 is our instances which they have allocated to me for my purpose. Earlier it was not there. I have just asked them to add this one. How you can check through which HANA database you have connected? For that purpose, you have to go to SAP GUI, and here you have uh, one T code DBA cockpit. Okay, DBA cockpit. You have to either go over here, or what you have to do, very simple way, you have to go to system, click on this status. Once you come to this status, here you can see the database information. You can see which database you are using over here. It's nothing but HANA database, and the database release you can find out over here which database release is. Okay, and the name of the database, this is the name of the database, and this is the instances of the database. Okay, this is the instances of the database, this is the name of the database. Okay, the host name, this is the schema name, this is the username, this is the owner name. They have kept the same name for their convenient. Okay, this can be different also, owner can be also different. Owner actually in our case, this user TN3, this TN3 owner, actually this is one exceptional case where you were able to see like this, but generally what will happen, the owner will be the name of this is 43. Whatever your system is there, that name will be the owner name. Okay, I have asked to these people who from whom I have taken the access. I have just asked why you have kept the why like this honor name is coming like this TN3. They told they were just doing the experiment, and by doing the experiment they were able to do so, so they have just left it like that. But as a standard practice, the username is mainly whatever the here the system name is there. So through this system, you know why I'm telling like this, because this is your TN3 is your HANA database. So this system, your SAP system need to be communicated with the HANA database. Your SAP system need to communicate with HANA database system. So how it will communicate, how it will log into? Okay, for that purpose, here also they have given with this user, through this user they will just log in. But generally in a standard practice, the username will be the system name. S43 supposed to be here, but it is not here. But in a standard practice, or if in interview they are just going to ask what will be the user, generally you were supposed to tell the system name will be the username through which the SAP ABAP system is going to log in into the SAP HANA database system. Okay, and the owner name will be also the same. S43 user and owner generally become same. Okay, a schema here it is also wrong. It's not a standard practice. I have already talked to these basis people. They told that yeah, it's by by doing the experiment and research they have done like this. But generally the schema name will be something like this: SAP S43. First three letter will be SAP, and the last three letter will be your system name. So schema name will be not TN3, actually it should be SAP S43. Okay, so it's a good interview question. Just you remember it. Okay, what is the schema name? Schema name through which ABAP system is connected. Okay, so your answer should be, your answer should be the concatenation of SAP and the system ID. Okay, so for example, okay, your system ID, it can be anything, your system ID, right? In your company, it can be anything. Generally, you can go and check over there if your HANA system will be installed. So as a best practice, there must be, okay, in my organization it is there, or anywhere you can see over there. Okay, so if for example your system ID is S47 in our case, okay, then the schema name will be SAP S47. This will be your schema name, SAP S47. Okay, what is schema? Let us see what is schema. We are discussing about schema, but what is schema? Okay, what is schema? So schema, the definition of schema is actually it's a mandatory database object. Okay, let me write uh, for you. It's mandatory database object. First thing, it's a mandatory database object. Okay, uh, which is used to it's a mandatory database object which is used to store all the objects at dedicated area. Okay, at dedicated area. What I'm trying to say, tell you over here, you have a large database. Okay, you have a large database over here. uh, Let me represent it perfectly in a nice way. Let me choose the database symbol over here. You have large database over here. Okay, and you have some application server. Let me take it application server from here. This is our application server. Okay, and this application server, your application server is connected with your database server. For example, let me take some symbol over here from here. This is the symbol. I think it will be fine. Okay, and this is your database server. Let's suppose this is your HANA database. Okay, this is your HANA database. Now what is your requirement actually? Suppose now you were just moving from Oracle database to HANA database. This schema concept is everywhere in all the database system. It is not like HANA database specific. In all the database system, this schema behaves as same we are discussing. Okay, so Oracle database you are having, and now you are just trying to use, this is your main HANA database system. You don't want to interrupt your whole HANA database, right? So what you do actually, you will create the separate area over here. You are going to create separate area over here, some 5 area, 10 area, it all depends upon your requirement, and you are going to allocate the size for that particular area. Okay, so this particular area is known as schema. This particular area is known as schema. This can be schema 1. Okay, and generally the naming convention for the schema is SAP. And if your the application server is something like, let's suppose S45, then this will be your schema name, right? S45. SAP S45. If again your application server is something like S46, so SAP S46. Okay, again your application server name, the instance name, the system name is S47, again it will be S47. Okay, so this is how, this is how your schema gets created, means different area in the same database. So for example, if we're going to do some experiment with this particular system, it will not hamper the object of another system. Okay, it will not hamper the object of another system. Okay, and in this way you will be able to protect another object, another area. So same database can be used in different system. This is the beauty of a schema. This is the use of a schema, in fact. Okay, so same database system can be used for different system with the help of a schema. They are, and all the schema will be have like a separate HANA database system. Okay, same object, suppose you are going to create Mara over here. Okay, the same object you can see in this Mara, and the same Mara also you can see over here, same Mara.
Pankaj,
Yeah, yes.
for this, I feel you're talking about the multi-node system, correct?
Multi,
Multi-node system where we can have means single database, but the different application is running. It's like that.
I don't know about that multi-node system, but this is
So,
how, like this. Yeah.
so is there any restriction on the number of schema we can put in the database, or either we can put the n number of schema in the same database?
No, it depends on the size, right? If there is size, if the size is available, if size is sufficient,
Mm-hmm.
suppose you are having HANA database size is something like 1 TB, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you can a maximum, like here you can define some half terabyte, and here 1/4 TB, and again here also 1/4 TB. So it all depends on the HANA database administrator or basis people, how they want to do it. If they are going to create multiple schemas, then the size will be less over there. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So it is like that. So this is the use of a schema, and this is our application server. Okay, fine. So what I was trying to tell you over here, in the same schema, in this schema, the Mara database table is over here also, and here also. Okay, at both at all these three places, your Mara database, and their content will be different. So you are having different Mara table over here, you are having different Mara table over here, different Mara table over here. Okay, there is no relation in between. Okay, so you can use, with the help of a schema, you can use the same database as a separate database. You can understand like this. Let's go over here and go to HANA Studio, and I will show you. You can see this TN3. This is our system actually. Okay, this is our system through which it is connected. Just double click over here. It's asking for some password. I have given some password. Okay, click on this OK button, and then you can see under the catalog you are able to see the, this is your HANA database. TN3 is your main HANA database, and under main data HANA base you are having multiple schemas over there. Okay, suppose if you are not able to see your schema, then you have to consult your database administrator or SAP HANA basis people. They will be just checking for you, and if you don't have right, they will be giving the right for you, and then you will be able to see your schemas, because everybody won't be having the access of a schema. The reason behind, you can do anything with this schema. If you are going to do here, and suppose if you are going to delete some table, it's not good, so generally they don't give the access. But if you have such role like HANA database administrator or HANA developer, okay, you are going to get such role. But generally HANA developer also don't have such role. Generally such kind of role is having with the only HANA database administrator or basis people. As a HANA developer, you are having, you can see this SAP HANA development perspective. You have to come over here, and since I'm having this catalog and all, generally like here also you will be able to see this catalog and all, and from here you can go to this open SQL console, and from here also you can create the information model, means attribute view, analysis view, attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. Okay, so from here also you can create, somewhere you can go in new, and uh, here you will be having something kind of a schema mapping. That's fine. Okay, let's select some catalog, some schema, and click on this new. Okay, fine, I will tell you what I'm trying to show you. Let us see now first that open SQL console. If we're going to click on this open SQL console, okay, if we're going to click on this open SQL console, just come over here and you can find it out. Select start from a Mara. I want to check all the data from this Mara. Will it work? Will it work? It will not work. Why? Because I'm simply giving the Mara, and in this HANA database we are having multiple schemas, sysrt, sysbi, sysrepo. These all are the system schemas where system tables are stored. We don't have to touch this. We are not supposed to change anything over here because these are system schemas. If we are going to change anything over here, our system may not work properly. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything over with the system schema. Okay, select a star from Mara, and here if you click, it will give you some error. It is telling could not execute select star from Mara, could not find table view Mara in schema Pankaj TN3 line 1 column there, like that it is telling. Okay, so it is not able to identify the correct schema through which I want to find it out. Okay, by default it is considering this schema. you know when I'm giving the Mara over here, you can see by default it is considering this Pankaj TN3, and in Pankaj TN3 this is not our perfect schema. Okay, if you go over here and select for the Mara table, okay, just click on this table, or what you can do, right click. See, if here itself you can see there is no table over here, right? There is no table over here. Our Mara table is over here, this TN3. Go to this table. Okay, it's showing pending because it's just expanding the table. You can see the table, it's expanding over here. Okay, if you want to find your table Mara, you just right click over here and you will be having one option called filter somewhere. Just check filter, click on this filter button and give the Mara over here. Click on this OK button. You will be able to see whatever Mara. You can see the Mara is here, right? Click on this Mara table. Okay, and Mara definition you will be able to see over here. Okay, Mara definition you can see. So under TN3, under TN3 schema, your Mara table is there. But when you are going to write the select star from Mara, it's looking into this Pankaj TN3, which is the default schema it is considering, and there it is not able to find anything. Okay, so how to do? You have to give explicitly the schema name, over here. Okay, you have to give explicitly the schema name and just try to click on this execute button, and here you can see now the data is coming in nice format, right? This is the index number 1 2 3 4 5. This is the row number, this is the mandate field. Okay, this is the material number, whatever, all the field you will be able to see. All the around 298 fields are there in the Mara table. All the field content you can see over here, it's coming. right? When I have given tn3. So wherever this Mara table will be there in whatever schema, if you put the schema name before, give the dot and give the table name and select on this execute button, you will be able to see the result over here under this result tab. Here again, you can come over here and you can change the table from Mara to whatever table. If you, it all depends on you what table you want. Okay, so uh, you can give some another table, BBAK, something like that. Okay, click on this OK button. You can see the number of entries from BBAK table it is coming. Okay, just go here and come here, go to AC38. Okay, write one program, Jade, something like morning uh, Hana, ABAP on Hana test. Click on this create button. Okay, click on this create button. Just I'm going to write this as a test program, executable, save, a local object. And here also, if we're going to write, select star from Mara into table at the rate of data, right? New syntax, it underscore table, and that's it. That is the beauty of new syntax. You don't have to bother much. And then CL demo output, right? CL demo output, display data, right? And just press, just a second, select this one and press shift enter. Okay, so this value it underscore table, control C, give the value over here. Name is just optional and you can check over here, activate it. Okay, put the breakpoint over here, run it. IT underscore table, you can see 388 entries are over here, right? You can see 388 entries are there. And here just I am giving the Mara, right? Here just I am giving the Mara. Here I don't have to write, here there is no requirement of writing tn3.mara at SAP GUI level. Why? Can anyone tell why I'm not it is not required to write tn3 there at HANA level. When we are going to write the query, it is expecting me to write the tn3.bbak or whatever table name is there. Okay, but here if we're going to select from Mara or whatever table it is, okay, or whatever table it is not asking me to write anything over here. Okay, tn3 dot Mara is not required over here. Why? And even if you give that one, maybe some syntax error or something like that, it will tell you why it is not required. Okay, the reason behind, this is the OpenSQL, the first reason. Okay, the another, OpenSQL, what is the meaning of OpenSQL? OpenSQL, I believe that everybody know the meaning of OpenSQL. That means, whatever your HANA database, okay, uh, this is your application server, SAP ABAP application server, okay, SAP application server AS application server, and HANA database, whatever in underlying HANA database, right? Whatever underlying HANA database. It can be anything. In your backend, your HANA database can be anything, right? It can be Sybase, it can be DB6, DB2, DB2 or DB6. It can be anything, right? It's a IBM HANA database, Oracle, okay, SQL database, okay, MS SQL database, and then this one, can be HANA database also. And this is your open SQL. This select star from Mara, this is your open SQL. This is true for all the HANA database. Means this syntax is going to work for all the database. Okay, the syntax is going to work in the same way for all the HANA database. It is nothing to do with HANA. It's not like it is going to work with HANA database only. It will work with Oracle also. It will work with DB2 also. It will work with Sybase also. It will work with SQL database also. So the syntax is going to work with. This is the meaning of Open SQL. Open SQL. It's open to every database. And native SQL, if we're going to write the native SQL at ABAP layer between exec SQL and end exec, already we have discussed in detail. Okay, just for jamming, I'm just discussing a little bit about this. If we're writing it exec SQL and end exec over here, and whatever the code you have to write, you have to see what the database is, underlying database, and based upon that database the code you have to write, that then only it will work, otherwise it will give you the error. Okay, it will not work. So native SQL, it should be database compatible. Native SQL should be database compatible, but Open SQL you don't have to bother, because everything will be taken care by the database abstraction interface, right? Database abstraction interface. Everything will be taken care by the database abstraction interface if it is Open SQL. It will convert, okay, it will convert as per the standard of underlying database. Okay, it will convert the Open SQL into the native SQL. Whatever, even tomorrow you are going to change to some another database, everything will be taken care by this database abstraction interface. It's a very powerful feature of SAP application server. That's why SAP is so popular, that you can plug and play with any database. This is the beauty of SAP application server, SAP database abstraction interface. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. And the second reason why we are not supposed to give the TN3 over here, because the system identify that it is connected with the by default schema TN3. So the database abstraction interface, when it's converting into the native SQL query like this, okay, like this, behind the scene, the database abstraction interface convert the query like this and send to the database system to fetch the data. Okay, it just check whatever the whatever the schema name is there, and it finds the schema name is nothing but TN3. So just it applies the TN3 as a prefix, and after giving the dot, it put that Mara table. Okay, the algorithm has been detained in that way. Fine, click on this execute button, you will be able to see the output. So this is the reason, this is the reason why it is not given. Now another thing, uh okay, fine, uh what I was trying to make you understand over here, yes, here, if we're going to select the number of entry, and you can see the number of entry over here, how you can find the number of entry over here, which aggregate function you will use, can you tell me? Count star, right? We are going to use count star from Mara into, let's get it some variable. Okay, let's get it in some variable into @ and data lv underscore count. Check the syntax if it is fine or not. It is telling some problem. Remove this one. I want to see the number of count. Okay, right, and then lv underscore count. Click on this pt pen, check the syntax. Now it's fine. Activate it. Activate. Okay, fine. Just run it, and the number of count you can see it's a 388. And just you try to find out here the number of count, okay, from the Mara table, right? Select count star Okay, click on this OK button, and you can see it's a 451. Why it's a here you are able to see 388, and here you are able to see 451. There is a reason behind this. There is a reason behind this. Okay, just check the, you know, just check the content. You will see why it is coming like that. Okay, click on this OK button, and you can see here in this mandate, here in this mandate, this 000, 000, 000, 000, all these things is coming, and then 800 is coming, right? 000, 800 is coming. Okay, two times, two types of, you know, two types of client number is coming. One is 000 and another is 800. Okay, you can see here 000, and later when I am scrolling down, 800 is coming. Now if you go over here, okay, if you go over here, and if you try to see, let me again enable it, select star from Mara into table at the rate data it underscore table. Okay, click on this pretty printer, check the syntax, it is fine. Now activate it, and if you see like this, let me put the breakpoint over here, run it. Okay, click on this it underscore table. Okay, press F6. 388 records are there, right? And you can see all the record is having only 800 client, right? There is no zero client. Okay, there is no 00000. There is no 000. It is there. So what is happening? This is happening due to the database abstraction interface. Database abstraction interface, what does it do? That, let me tell you, it's trying to show the output. Let me cancel the transaction, close it, go back. It, what it is trying to show you, you know, that whatever your, you know, you can see over here that client is here, client 800 is there. So by default, if you don't give anything over here, it just give where, you know, uh, MANDT, right? MANDT equal to 800, it puts over there. When it is going inside, when it is going inside the uh, database label, it just put over here that where MANDT field equal to, you know, 800. Okay, just run it now. Okay, and you can see here the number of entry, it is only coming of 800, and the number of entries here you can see fetched 388 rows, the same number of rows when you were going to put the MANDT equal to 800. So in backend, it construct the query with the help of where condition, whatever MANDT at here. Okay, at OpenSQL level, it by default add the where condition. Okay, whatever the current client you are logged in, whatever the current client you are logged in, it considers the current MANDT, you know, and it gives you the data from the current client only. If you want to get the data from different client, you have to explicitly mention over there, and then you will be able to get the data from different client. Let us see if it is possible or not. I'm not sure if we are able to get the data from different client. Okay, let me check it. uh, the client field cannot be specified in the where condition. Client handling, okay, it is telling that client handling is performed by the compiler, so we cannot do over here anything. Okay, in where condition mandate field, we will not be able to use it. Client itself identifies at the ABAP layer that which client it has to take care. Okay, so here we will not be able to do so. But how it works in backend, right? If you simply give this, your compiler takes, your compiler takes 800 as a client, and that who gives the instruction to the compiler? Abstraction database interface, uh, yeah, abstraction interface gives the instruction to compiler that which client it has to be taken care, right? So this is how, this is how the client handling happens. So in backend, if you are going to use, like when you are going to use the SQL procedure and all, you have to mention over here the client. From the specific client you want to get the data, you have to mention the mandate over here. Otherwise what it will do, it will give you the data from all the client, right? It will give you the data from all the client of the same schema. In the same schema you can have the different number of client. Okay, through the same schema there can be different number of client. So be careful while doing the select condition. You must have to give the mandate field, otherwise what it will do, it will get all the data. Okay, so similarly what will happen if we're going to write the native SQL query? Okay, and if you don't means if we're going to write the code inside exec exec SQL and end exec. Okay, so here whatever you write the code, you must have to do the client handling over here, right? Because this is the same way, this is the data specific code you are going to write. Hope you understood this. Check the syntax, activate it, is fine. Someone is having any question? Okay, fine. I believe there is no question as of now. Fine, let's go ahead and understand some more stuff over here. Okay, some more theoretical stuff which is very important in our day-to-day development. Okay, so we know that our development life cycle, right? We are very well aware about our development life cycle, that we are having three systems, right? We are having three systems. This is the development system, and then this is the quality system, and then this is our prod system, production system, right? So for all the system, in all the development, quality, production, in all the system, what happens that your database through which your development is connected, your database through which your quality is connected, your database through your production is collected. Okay, this can be different, right? At least if your database is not different, your schema must be different. Let's consider here scenario where the database is different. Okay, and in this database, for development system, your by default schema will be something like SAP and dev, right? Here your schema will be SAP quality, right? And here your schema will be SAP prod. Now here you are going to do some development, right? Here you are going to, under this schema you are going to do the development. When you are transporting your object to another system, right? When you are transporting your object to another system, what will happen? What will happen, right? How you are going to manage the transport? Because here your schema name is different, here your schema name is different, and here your schema name is different. Suppose you have written some query. Okay, you have written some query at HANA database layer, or you have created some AMDP class, and there you have written some query, select a star from SAP dev.mara. Okay, so the code will be same, right? The code will be same. How the system will understand that here I have to use, is select star from SAP qua.mara. Okay. Are you getting the problem, the practical challenges when you are going to do the transport? When a schema name is different, there will be challenge. Okay. How to get rid of that challenge? How to solve that problem? So to solve that problem, there is a concept called a schema mapping. Okay, there is a concept called schema mapping. Schema mapping. So what happens in schema mapping? That you know every schema to the dev, quality, or production server is connected with the same alias name. For example, this alias name can be something like, let me name it something like test. Okay, so here also the alias name will be test only. Just let me copy it and paste it over here, I will use the same. Okay, so here you can see the same alias name test and production, this is there. So what happens that when your SAP development system, this SAP quality and this SAP production, this all system is connected through your this test test. So this alias is nothing but, this test and test is nothing but the representation of your schema. Okay, so here actually you are not just moving. So when you are having that database abstraction interface, you are having this application layer, you are having this alias name. So what it will do, instead of SAP development, it will use test as a schema. Okay, instead of SAP quality, it will use test as a schema. Okay, instead of SAP production, it will use test as a schema over here. So when you have written some query, okay, let's go over here. When you have written some query over here, instead of giving this schema name, what it is going to give? The test. Okay, so test is going to be understood from the another system. When your transport is going to move into another system, that means your test is connected with this SAP quality. So automatically your query will be converting from SAP dev to from SAP quality, because that is the power of this alias. Okay, so for a schema, you are going to use this alias test. Okay, and with the help of alias, with the help of a schema mapping, okay, with the help of with the help of alias, we achieve the schema mapping. Okay, with the help of alias, we achieve the schema mapping. So how we can see in the system where the schema mapping they have performed? Just go to the system and go into HANA database, go to Windows, and somewhere here you will be able to see somewhere quick view kind of things will be there. Just let me check. Perspective, navigation, quick access. Okay, quick access is there. Click on this quick access and write me schema mapping. Just a second.
Pankaj,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, you told that one database can have a multiple schema. So all schema should be one alias, or like we are creating a multiple alias for different schemas.
Just a second.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, this quick view. Okay, this open this quick view, and under this quick view somewhere you can see the schema mapping. Just a second. Schema mapping, you can see over here. Just click over here and you can see for this particular TN3 SDX whatever the alias name and all insufficient privilege. I don't have actually authorization to just check with like through which alias it is connected. Okay, otherwise you can see, if you having the authorization you can see the alias name and all through which it has connected. So this is the option of schema mapping. uh, it is not necessary to go from here. Okay, you can directly go from here, right click, and somewhere you will be able to see the schema mapping. From here, schema mapping, now this schema mapping you can click. It is telling insufficient privilege. From here also you can go. Yeah, Varun, please tell me what's your question. I didn't hear you properly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My as you told earlier, one database can have a multiple schema. Okay,
Right.
and can you go to the slide that you explaining this schema? If you can
Yeah.
open this.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Next slide, you are mentioning that one database can have a multiple schema. And
Mm-hmm.
that slide 44 slide, you are mentioning the application level like development server, quality server. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So can we have a multiple schema under this development server? If it is
Yes,
a
you can have
uh,
multiple schema, but the default schema is this one,
uh,
right? SAP development. SAP dev will be your default schema.
so suppose if we have a multiple schema under this development server, so all
Hmm.
those schema have a one alias test.
No, no, it is not like that. It all depends on like uh, how it can be different alias also, right? For this single schema, how this is connected with this test. This can be
Okay.
different also.
Okay, so each
Yeah.
schema can have a separate alias. Okay, and while
Okay.
transferring from development server to quality server,
Mm.
uh, we how this we pass if we
You have
shifted
to
from
put in transport request TR, right? You know the concept of TR, correct?
so
You have
similar.
to. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so through TR we can pass all those schemas from development to quality server.
No, no, you are not passing any schema over here. The schema will be same. Your schema is defined at this level. Your schema will be here only. Your schema is here only. But whatever development, whatever code you have written over here in development, okay. Can you please mute yourself because lot of background noise is coming, Varun? Yeah. So actually this and test is there. This is your alias, and what I'm trying to show you over here. For example, you have written some code, select, here you have written some code, select a star from Mara, right? You have written some code in development server, select a star from Mara. Okay. So if you have written the code, it will get it directly from its schema, its corresponding schema. So in this database, under this database, the in native SQL, your code will be something, your code will get converted something like this. Select a star from, SAP dev dot Mara in your corresponding database. But the same code, when you are going to move into, I'm just uh, through the transport, you are just moving into the quality system, right? So same code will come over here, right? And here what the system will understand, that you are just going to write that select, and the underlying database, the underlying connected schema is SAP quality, right? Your underlying database is SAP quality. So it's just going to use this select a star from SAP quality dot Amara. Just a second. Okay, so your code is going to work in this way, but the problem, when the problem will happen, that see, select a star from Mara, the same code is going to come over here, right? But in underlying database, your code is something like select a star from Mara SAP development dot Mara. Here the select a star from Mara SAP quality, this is the schema name. Okay, so how the second system will understand that this SAP development is corresponding to here, whatever I'm using the SAP development, it should be SAP quality over here. Okay, so for that purpose we use the alias. So here the test will be connected with SAP development, and here your test will be connected with SAP quality. So name is same at both the places, but the the backend name SAP, it's a SAP quality over here. So the test which is connected with SAP development over here, the same test is connected with the same name is connected with the SAP quality over here. So when you are going to fetch the query from Mara table, the Mara is going to get the data from here SAP quality. Is it fine now?
Yeah, so to say we are using the same alias for all schemas. Same alias.
Ye- for all the schema, in this case, for this particular schema, SAP development, this SAP development is corresponding to this test. SAP quality is corresponding to this test, and SAP production is corresponding to this test. Okay, so same alias or it will be different, that I don't know. The database administrator people will be the perfect person to give this answer, but this is how we know the handle the this is how we handle the different schema with the alias name. I believe one alias will not be perfect. You have to use some another alias in order to handle another schema. This is my assumption. I'm not sure about this, but this is what I can understand. Okay,
Okay.
fine. Let's save it and go ahead. So we have seen when I'm going to write the select star, it's getting the data from all the system. Okay. Now we were also discussing some part, like suppose you are having some code written over here, right? In your system you have written some code, and if you want to check whether that code is HANA compatible or not. Okay, so in your code maybe the option that inside the loop, suppose some some new developer has come in your organization and they have written some code over here, or the standard things what you have to you have to do, a standard check what you have to do, that we have already discussed, that you have to remove all the native SQL statement, right? Native SQL statement you have to remove, because your native SQL statement is not going to work, right? Because whatever that native SQL statement which is greater than uh, whatever, just let me note it down over here. We have, I think already we have discussed in some of the slides. I will just let you know that what other things you have to take care. Okay, I'm not able to find that one. Just I will make you revise over here. Just come. We will quickly revise that what other things you have to take care. The very first thing that you have to take care, that is the native SQL. Okay, the native SQL you have to take care the very first thing. Okay, so earlier if native SQL has been written for the Oracle database or SQL database, that you have to that you have to remove and you have to make HANA compatible. As per HANA standard, you have to convert that code into uh, HANA native SQL. For OpenSQL, you don't have to worry. Okay. So this is very critical. This you must have to rectify. You must have to rectify. Okay. Uh, if you are going from, you know, Oracle database to HANA database, in that case, native SQL statement you must have to rectify. Second thing that uh, suppose sometimes what happens for improving the performance, we were giving that DB specific hint, right? DB specific hint, you know what is hint? That for improving the performance, we something we give like percentage and some SQL percentage. We start with percentage underscore and we give hints. And suppose if it is MS SQL, so MS SQL hints if we have given, so something like that, its syntax will be something like this, and you have to, you have to correct this one, though it will not be a showstopper. It's not a showstopper, it will not create any problem, but it will not work. Not a showstopper, but it will not work. So there will be no problem, but it will not be effective also. This you must have to take care. Okay, this is very very critical. This is very very critical. It will not work, native statement. And the another thing which you have to just keep in your mind, that the very important thing, that whenever you are going to write the query on HANA database, query on HANA database, okay, you are it's a best practice actually. It's best practice to use, order by clause, order by clause, because HANA database was identified that in some cases if you don't use the order by clause, the where condition does not work properly. Okay, the where condition, what I mean to say that in backend you are having the HANA database right now. You can see in backend SDB is there. I have just shown you. Okay, so suppose if your query is something like that, select the star from Mara into table at the rate table, and in where condition you are going to use, net weight. So NATGW is the net weight is less than something like 300. Okay, you have given like this. Check the syntax once. There is some problem. Okay, I think NATW is not the correct one. NTGEW is the correct field. Okay, so this is the net weight field. Okay, you are simply going to write the select a star from Mara into table at the rate data IT table where NTGEW is less than 3. So you must have to give, you were supposed to give, it's very much recommended to give order by NTGEW. By this way, you are going to solve the two issue. One, that you don't have to sort at the application level layer. If further you are going to use something like, read statement using the binary search, right? When you are going to use the binary search, network issue is there. Yeah, fine. Now it's working fine. Some network issue was there. Okay. So here you must have to give the order by clause in order to work it perfectly. Okay. Two advantage. One thing, you don't have to sort at application layer, because when you are going to sort the application layer, It's a time consuming. You are not leveraging the power of HANA. Just sort at the HANA database layer itself, because your HANA database is having the massive parallel power processing, and it is installed at the RAM level, so it's very very fast. So use the order by clause, so it will sort at the HANA database layer itself, and it will give you the result in the IT underscore table. So you are going to avoid this sort. And another thing, that sometimes the problem what happens, like suppose you know uh, your table is something like this. Suppose your table is something like you are having the Matner, and you are having NTGEW. Okay, you are having NTGEW. Your Matner 1 is having some NTGEW, something like net weight 100. Okay, your Matner 2 is having something like 600, and your Matner 3 is having something like let us say 200. Okay, so when you are going to write the where NTGEW is less than 300, then what will happen if you have not sorted? Okay, sometimes it creates the problem, but most of the time it will give you the correct result. Even if you don't sort it, the result will be correct. But it has been observed the problem in HANA database that the that like if you don't sort it, you cannot rely on the result. What happens that sometimes it will be giving you only the 100. As soon as it will see that 600 is there, it will just skip the 200. What actually you are looking for? You are looking for the NTGEW which is less than 300, just you get. So it will find out that 100 is less than 300. It will give you in this internal table. It will see that 600 is greater than this 300. It will not, and it will not give these two records, but though it is supposed to give 200. Sometimes it happens this problem. Okay, so to avoid, to make sure that we are going to get the correct result, perfect result, okay, we are supposed to give this order by. This is the mandatory one. This is the very much recommended. Okay, fine. So this is one thing. Use order by clause. And then if there is some secondary index is created, there is no secondary index now. Will not create any problem, but not require the secondary index. uh, your system will tell that you can remove the secondary index. If we are going to check your code, if we are going to check your code through that functional db and all, it will tell no secondary index is required. Why? Because in HANA database, if your table is having Mara or something like that, it is all in your column store, right? So if it is column store, then everything which is there as everything which is stored as a column store, it's already indexed. We have discussed already in our last classes in very much detail, right? So no secondary index required. And then no more concept of cluster table and pool table, right? No more concept of cluster table and cluster and pool table. So your system will tell why you are using this cluster table, why you are using this pool table. HANA database understands, though you can make, there is an option, but uh, like in NetWeaver you are having the option, but in HANA database like the concept of cluster and pool table is now not more there. Every table will be converted into transparent table once you migrate to the HANA database. Okay, so your system will tell don't use this pool table and cluster table, because the HANA database only considers that you know transparent table. So you have to convert the pool table or cluster table into the uh, you know transparent table. So hope it's clear for all of you. We understood the concept of a schema. We understood the concept of like what is the best practices which we have to follow, what the bare minimum things which we have to take care while migrating to HANA database. The very important, this is the first one, only one very very much important. And these are like uh, this no more concept of cluster and pool. And then Order by clause, this is, you can understand, it's quite important. This one, just I'm marking it in a red. Other thing, you can just, this cluster and pool you have to correct, or system will automatically convert into transparent. Okay, so this is fine. If you even don't take care, it will be converted. Other thing you have to take care, this first and third, this is not a showstopper. If you keep it, it is not of any use. Okay, but it will not, means it will not create any problem also. Okay, now just we will discuss one thing, and we'll stop our today's session. What, like what the tool you are going to use when you are going to convert your system, your code into HANA database compatible code. So how you are going to check the code? Suppose you are having this program, okay, and you want to check, this is only some program, only one or two line we are having over here. This is not the perfect example, but still just you try to understand what I'm trying to show you over here. Suppose you are having one program, and if you want to check whether your program is HANA compatible or not, it's ready to move to the HANA database or not. So for that purpose, SAP has given some tool. It's already since beginning, but after 7.10 service fact 3, I think onwards, they have given one more tool that is called ATC slash O ATC. And there is one more tool that is a code inspector slash on SAP code inspector, SCI, SAP code inspector. These are where you can come and you can check, you know, you can take help of this predefined tool, already existing tool, and SAP has just created the variant. With the help of that variant, against that variant you can check your existing code, and you can, you know, you can check your code is will be working or not. So you are having the functional underscore db. This is, you know, this is the code. You have to go over here and you can check that when you are going to when you are going to, you know, when you are going to select that functional db, you can see the multiple variant is coming over here. You can go one by one and you can see that it is checking against, you know, native SQL, it is checking against db hints. Okay, so if there will be native SQL and db hints, it will be going to give you the error. You can see it has been stated under critical statements. So your native SQL DB hints will not be a showstopper, but native SQL, you know, it will create a problem. It will give you a runtime dump if you are not going to correct this as per the HANA. Okay. So either you have to convert into OpenSQL or you have to make compatible with HANA native SQL. Close this one. Similarly, you can go and you can check dynamic and client specific select. Uh, these things you can go one by one and you can check against what they have performing the check. Okay, against what they are performing the check. And once, you know, once you find that against which variant you have to perform the check, you know, so generally like for HANA readiness you have to check like where your work, your existing code will be, you know, working against HANA or not. So generally this is the bare minimum criteria to check against this check variant. So how you can use this check variant? Okay, how you can use this check variant? So for that, what you have to do, you have one you know, tool called ATC, ABAP Test Cockpit. Here you can schedule the run. Here you can schedule the run, because in your uh, organization, in your project, you will be having large amount of code, large amount of packages, large amount of programs, classes, enhancements, anything, right? So you can schedule the code. You can click on this schedule button, you can click on this create button, and series name you can give something like, you know, HANA readiness, something like that you can give HANA readiness. Okay, one, click on this OK button. Okay, and here you can give which package you want to, you know, schedule the package name, all the package. Suppose if you want to uh you know, if you want to give all the Y star and Z star package, okay, just select it from here. Okay, So it will consider all the Y star and Z star package and it will check. Okay. If you don't want to do the check against only some Y star or Z star, if you want to keep for all the packages, simply give the star over here, right? If you want to check for all the packages, but generally we check for the custom code, okay, because for the standard SAP has taken care, right? For a standard code SAP have already taken care, so we are supposed to check only against the custom code which is starting with Y or Z, right? We know that every custom object start with either Y or Z. Fine. So package we can give, and we can simply give some description over here, and then here you are having some option: report finding size exempted, unresolved. We are going to use this suppress findings. Okay, we are going to use this suppress findings and click on the save button. Once you click on the save button, your series name will be created. You can schedule this series. Okay, you can click on the schedule button and you can give some uh, timing. You can give lifespan in days, 21 days. Okay, till 21 days it will start working. Number of processes, schedule on server group. You can give the server group also, right? For example, parallel generators 390, right? I don't know if you know the parallel this server group or not. Okay, we'll discuss in some another session about the server group, but you can select the server group on which you want to perform the this test, and there one option comes from when you want to activate this test. Just internet issue is there, just wait for a while. Okay, click on this execute in background. Server group must be initial. Okay, schedule on single server. Okay, it has been scheduled. uh, Go back, click on this edit button, and here you can give the variant name. Before scheduling you can give the variant name over here, something like uh, functional underscore db. So against this variant your check will be scheduled, and once you schedule your check, currently I'm just going to give the local package, otherwise it will take more time. At least I can show you something over here. So I'm just going to give $tmp. Click on this OK button, just save it. It got configuration is inconsistent, save anyhow. It is telling that configuration is, for example, $tmp. This is the package name, right? $tmp only it happens. Let me check if it is correct. $tmp, this is correct. Just save it. Okay, let us see what is the problem. Configuration updated. Code inspector check created on, changed on, and one option come to schedule it. Okay, click on the schedule, execute in background. Yeah, here you can schedule. It's a it will a kind of batch job. Okay, it will kind of batch job. Mm, you will be able to see somewhere valid for all reports, valid for these reports. Background, some different option is coming. Let me check. So the way in which we schedule the batch job, and we give the date and time in the same way it is supposed to come. Click on this OK button. Print property, that is fine. Background, select some LOCL, something like that. Click on this OK button. let us check what is available. LP01, click on this. Okay, okay, yeah, and date and time you can give from here. Okay, schedule a start and time you can give, and suppose generally, generally the evening time or night time your business is lower at that particular span of time, so you can in evening you can schedule the trace. So today evening I can schedule the trace something like evening 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And because you are having the large amount of program, it can take several hours, several hours it can take. So you can schedule, just schedule start after this. End time don't give. Okay, just save it, and that's it. Just go back. We don't have to give any variant. Go back. Fine. So this is how you can schedule, and it will run at particular point of time when it will reach over there. Okay, if at the same point, if you want to run now itself, you can directly go, to SCI SAP Code Inspector, and here you can create your inspection and just give some inspection name Z test. Click on this create button, and here somewhere you select the single, because I'm going to just select one single program. Just select this program and give your program name. Let's suppose this is my program name. Okay, and uh, full stop. Okay, just save it, activate it. Let me copy this program name. Okay, let me copy this program name and give the name over here. Okay, click on enter button. This is fine. Check variant, you have to give the variant name, right? Again, which variant? This is the mandatory field you have to give. Functional DB. Click on this enter button.
Pankaj, one
Okay.
thing here,
Uh-huh.
if we go to the program, just switch the screen. So in the program itself, we can go to the ATC. So that particular, just click on the program. In that extended check or the checks will be there inside the. We can run the code inspector,
Yeah, from here also we can do. Yeah, you were
right?
right, you were correct. Yes, from here also we can do. Yes, the option is there,
So
we can directly go from here.
but we can't give the like what I'm talking about. That variant we can't give, correct?
uh no, from ATC
Because
the
you are,
default variant, yeah, default variant come over here. If you go through this, the default variant will come into the picture, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somewhere the it checks against the, it checks against the default variant. Okay, it checks against the default variant.
So we can change the default variant also.
Yeah, we can check the default variant. Somewhere that option is there to check. We need to check where is that variant, but we can check the default variant, I think so. I'm not sure about that. But here, from here, we can give the variant name specifically. If you go to SCI Code Inspector, and if we create the inspection, we can give the code variant. Here by default, when we go over here and check and use the ABAP test code, and here I think this is the variant. Let me check once. I have not gone through this, I have not gone through this way while doing the HANA conversion. Mainly we are supposed to go, because large package of program we have to check at the same time, not an individual program. Okay, so with, I think, some uh, variant option should come. Option code inspector check variant,
Yeah, we
here
can.
you can check. Yeah, so that second option you can use over there. But here, here you can check only the single program, right? If you go through this
Yeah.
program, so here actually you have to use the ATC or directly to code inspector. Suppose under a particular request and under the particular package or object set you have to check, then you have to use like that. For single, come over here, Click on this execute button. Okay, it will schedule the run, or it will not schedule the run. In fact, it will give you the output. Okay, once it got executed, you can see the green button, and here one log will come. Okay, result. Here there is no problem in our program currently. Otherwise the problem will come over here at 1 2 3, something like that, error. Since there is nothing in this program, okay, if you take any program, something like if you are going to write some select inside the loop, so from performance point of view, that select inside the loop is not recommended, right? So for performance point of view, if you want to check, what you have to do, you have to use the variant over here, something like let's click on this change button, and under this go into change mode. Okay, you have to create the new variant, create one new variant over here. And suppose if you want to check the performance for a particular program, so select the program name, give the program name over here, and here for that performance db. Okay, performance underscore db, this is the variant name. Click on this execute button. Okay, you can see the green button is there, right? And you can see from performance point of view, some problem it is showing, you can just expand it and you can check analysis of where condition. It is telling there must be some where condition in, no where condition, no index field in where condition, no list. There is three problem it is showing over here. Okay, so you can check, there is three problem. Search parameter, you can double click over here and we can see what is. So actually it tells you the it tells from the performance point of view, right? So as a best practice, we know that if we are going to write some program, we must have to give some a where condition, right? Though we have given here the where condition, let me check still why it is telling star. Actually we have given, one second, and the program name is correct, fine, J morning ABAP HANA on test. Okay, let me activate it once again, and performance db, this is fine. Check the variant name. Under this variant name, the performance checks is there. Okay, analysis of where condition for select, no where condition, no index field for where. Okay, it checks against that. Okay, it checks against these three fields. The error we will be able to see something, we have to click somewhere here. Okay, the double click over here. I think we have to expand it. Let us check. Yeah, here you can see that the program include row name, large table mara, no where condition. Okay, we have given the where condition, no field of HDB, index in where table. Okay, okay, so what it is telling, this the field which I am using over here, it is not indexed. This is not a indexed field, that's why it is giving the error. But we know that in a HANA database, every column works as a separate index, so we can ignore this one. There is no problem in ignoring, and we know that we have given also the where condition, so there is no problem. Sometimes, sometimes it gives the furious result also. We cannot rely always on this result, so we have to check, and if we find that is everything is fine, then we can just against this comment we can take the screenshot of this, and we can tell that we have given the where condition, still this is showing. So your reviewer, sometimes your reviewer will tell that if you have used the where condition, why it is showing again and again. You can tell, see, I have used, still it is showing. It is not my problem, it is the system problem, something like that. So generally we used to do, I have used to do, just take the screenshot. They will ask even you to give the screenshot, that while they are going to review your code, you know they may ask for the screenshot. Okay, analysis of where condition in update and delete, you can go over here, and these are the different criteria against which it is checking. Zero error is there, so there is no problem when the zero error is there. Okay, So total error is only 2, right? List of checks is 2 only, total is 2, this is only we are bothering, and this total 2 is not making any sense, so this is fine for us. So similarly for the another program you can go and you can check. Okay, so this is how your SCI or ATC, how you can schedule your run, how you can do your performance check. Okay, but there happens some problem, uh, like because this S4 HANA or HANA is the new environment where the organization is supposed to go. So what they face the problem, like in production, once it starts going to get live, at that time they face the problem. The problem is like in production system, once the code moved over there, they face the problem. For example, they have to activate the trace in order to find out the performance issue, right? So in production environment, it is not at all suggested to activate the trace. For activating the trace, you have to get several permissions from the system owner or whatever the higher authority or higher management is there. You have to get the permission from those person, because to activate when you activate the trace in production system gets overloaded due to due to uh, large amount of higher processing, because it has to check with all the call stack, it has to check, it has to capture all the access, it has to capture all the process, so it becomes a huge performance overload. But the thing is that your data is there in the production, your actual data is there in the production. Suppose now I'm facing the problem and actual data is there in the production, I cannot get the data at this point of time into my pre-production server, and there I can put the trace and I can check. It is not possible because I'm facing the problem now and I want to get the resolution right now. How I can do that one? So for that purpose, SAP has provided some tool, the specific tool. That tool is known as SQLM, SQL Monitor and SQL Display. SQL Monitor and SQL Monitor Display. There are two tools. Okay, for that purpose they have provided. We will see that tool in little briefly, in a summarized way. We will see those tool. Okay, for performance point of view. Okay, so the variant against, I will just note it down, against which you have to perform the code check to make HANA compatible. Okay, the one is, this is the minimum criteria. Against functional DB, you must have to perform this variant, you have to use. If we're going to use this performance DB, it's it's optional. Okay, performance DB is optional. Your functionality must not be affected, right? That's why it is there. Your functionality must be corrected. So the functional DB must be, you have to use this functional DB. This is very, very important. Performance DB, this is optional. Okay, and there is one more, before the functional DB, one more tool was there. Functional DB came later. One earlier variant, something they started giving, like functional underscore DB underscore addition. You can check this. Okay, so if you are going to use this one, functional DB addition is already, will be already covered. So this one was the first one, this was the second one. Okay, so now directly go for this functional DB. If we are going to some migration project, just use against this one and check what are the threads, what are the important points where you have to correct the code. Okay, just save it. Fine. And the HANA specific tool, uh, actually, to check the performance, to check the performance Okay, the T code we are going to use like SCI means SAP Code Inspector, SAP SAP Code Inspector, the full form SCI means. Okay, and the another T code is ATC, ABAP Test Cockpit, very powerful tool. There are many features in this ABAP Test Cockpit. You can go through it and try to explore yourself. You are going to get many things. If anything is required, we can discuss this together. Okay, just save it. Fine, so we understood the SCI ATC this, and the tomorrow we'll try to understand something like SQL monitor and SQL monitor display, SQLMD. Once we complete tomorrow we will also learn the attribute view, how we can create the attribute view. Okay, and some important note, just I will note it down. Okay, which we have discussed together. The first point, that when you write the query on the uh, native SQL, okay, automatically all the clients get is going to get considered. Okay, so if you have to explicitly mention the client in where condition in native SQL. You have to explicitly mention the client means MANDT, right? MANDT in where condition, in where condition, in order to get the data from a specific client. Otherwise it will give from all the client, a specific client at database level, you can say, right? At ABAP layer it is not required. ABAP layer itself handles the current client. It takes the data from the current client. Okay, so this is one note. At database layer, at database layer, if you are writing the SQL query, at database layer you have to give the name prefixed with the schema. You have to give the table name prefixed with a schema while executing the select query, right? So this is two important point, just I have noted it down, which we have learned. Let's meet tomorrow. If you have doubt, if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask, we can discuss together. Okay, please feel free to ask if you have any doubt. We are going to close the session now. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Please ask. Okay, fine then. Let's stop our session over here and we will meet tomorrow by the same time, 6:30. Okay. Bye then. Have a
Okay,
nice
thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.